Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your sources and, well, extract the really important bits of knowledge.
That's the goal.
Today, we're diving into a very personal, pretty compelling narrative. It's from a YouTube video transcript titled, "Built a House for My Parents on Their 35th Anniversary, but They Insulted Me Instead."
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That title alone tells you it's going to be quite a ride.
It really is.
Yeah.
So our mission for this deep dive, we want to unpack this really raw, candid account of family dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, public image versus what happens behind closed doors, and these surprising breaking points that sort of reveal someone's true character.
Right. It sounds like one of those stories where everything looks perfect on the surface.
Exactly. It explores how these deeply rooted values, these perceptions of respectability, can just shape lives. And what happens when someone finally decides, nope, I'm writing my own script.
And what's fascinating, looking at the source, is how it just peels back the layers, this seemingly, proper family, and exposes all these undercurrents. Judgment, hypocrisy, expectations.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Definitely. We're going to explore the protagonist's journey, her self-discovery, her defiance, really all set against these very strong family beliefs.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's unpack this. So the narrative starts by introducing this family that really valued being proper.
Ah, the proper family.
Yeah, following the strict code. Almost every action, every word, even like what you wore, had to fit their standards of decency.
Very controlled environment then.
Very. And the sister, Emma, she is introduced as basically the epitome of the perfect daughter.
Always the perfect one.
Always knew the right thing to say, wore the right clothes, dated the perfect boy from the right family. You know the type. Predictable. Yeah. She even helped organize church events, nodded along to everything mom and dad said. Just picture perfect.
If we kind of zoom out, this really highlights how external validation, how public perception can become the main driver for a family.
Probably.
And it creates this atmosphere where, well, authenticity just goes out the window. It's all about appearances.
Yeah, precisely. And the parents in public, they were these upstanding members of the community.
Of course.
Dad's tie, always perfectly tied. Mom's church clothes, meticulously chosen. They hit every event, made donations, importantly, made sure everyone noticed their goodness.
The performance aspect is key there.
Huge. But here's where it gets really interesting. Once the public wasn't around, masks off.
Okay. Here we go.
The living room turns into what the narrator secretly called the gossip chamber.
The gossip chamber. Love that. Tells you everything.
Doesn't it? Mom's friends come over for coffee, and the real drama starts. Like, the narrator describes Mom stirring her coffee with this real disdain, saying things like, "Did you see what the Hendersons wore to church? Their daughter in those shorts? Someone should teach them about modesty."
Wow. So judgmental behind closed doors.
Extremely. And Dad wasn't much different. He'd chime in about people's jobs, their cars, their houses, always with this, like, thin veil of concern. But you could feel the sharp judgment underneath. Stuff like, poor Bill Johnson, trying to impress with that new car. Everyone knows his business is on the brink.
Oof. That's harsh.
Right.
It really raises a big question, though. What's the actual cost of keeping up that kind of strict public image?
Yeah.
And how does that seep into private family life?
Yeah.
Because that contrast, the public goodness and the private judgment, it's pretty striking.
Very. And their absolute favorite target for gossip, Anne Claire, Dad's sister.
Ah, the outlier.
Exactly. The narrator really admired her because she was everything they weren't.
Okay, tell us about Aunt Claire.
Well, she was an actress, successful in theater, lived life totally on her own terms. Her visits felt like a breath of fresh air in this kind of suffocating house.
I can imagine.
And she always brought thoughtful gifts, things that showed she actually cared, not just obligatory stuff.
Right, genuine connection.
Uh-huh.
How did the parents react to her?
Oh, they'd accept the gifts with these really forced smiles, polite thank yous. But the second she left,
What do you guess?
the criticism started. Mom would sneer, like, can you believe she's still dating at her age? Living in sin, no husband, no kids. What kind of life is that for a woman?
Wow. Just pure judgment based on their narrow worldview.
Totally. And Dad would hold up the gifts she brought and say things like, she's got all that theater money, yet she brings us cheap presents, probably spending it all on herself.
So even her generosity was twisted.
Yeah, they griped she could afford better, but chose to spend on herself instead of on family.
This dynamic, it just reveals this deep-seated intolerance, doesn't it? For anything that deviates from their rigid idea of proper.
Absolutely.
Aunt Claire represents freedom, self-expression. And in their eyes, that's basically a threat to their whole carefully built world.
A threat, exactly. So the narrator's first big sort of wake-up call, her turning point, happened when she was just 7.
7, okay.
She overheard her mom whispering about Aunt Claire, her voice just dripping with venom, saying, "She's nothing but a loose woman."
Loose woman. Wow, loaded term. Especially for a 7-year-old to hear.
Right. The narrator describes feeling really confused, deeply uneasy, didn't know what it meant, but knew it was bad.
Yeah, understandable.
So later, when she was alone with Aunt Claire in the kitchen, she just asked her directly, "Aunt Claire, what's a loose woman? That's what Mom and her friends call you when you're not here."
Oh, wow. Out of the mouths of babes, huh? How did Aunt Claire react?
She just froze, carefully put down the cookie jar she was holding. Her hands started trembling. You could see the hurt, the surprise, and then just anger.
I bet. Decades of putting up with it, maybe.
Must have been. She marches straight into the living room, confronts the parents. Her voice was cracking, saying, "I've had enough. I'm done with the hypocrisy, done with the gossip."
Good for her.
And then she just stormed out, slammed the door so hard the photos on the wall rattled.
That is such a pivotal moment. It's the first real crack in the facade, isn't it? Huge crack. The truth actually breaks through, not just for the narrator witnessing it, but for Aunt Claire herself finally saying no more. It sets a precedent, really. It shows challenging the rules is possible.
Yeah, it plants a seed. So, years go by. Emma, the perfect sister, marries Jason right after high school. Perfect match, according to the parents.
Naturally.
But then they start pushing the narrator down the same path, arranging for her to meet this guy, Richard Thompson, from a very respectable family.
Oh, here we go again. Control.
Exactly. But the narrator pushes back, "I want to go to college."
Good for her. What did Dad say?
He just scoffed. "College? What for?
Yeah.
Richard's going to take over his father's business. He needs a supportive wife, not some career woman."
Ugh. So backwards.
Tells you everything, right? But she secretly applied for college scholarships anyway. Kept it to herself.
Smart move.
Then, graduation day. There's a party at Richard's house. The narrator walks in and finds Richard in bed with her friend Kelly.
Oh my God, no.
Yep. Her reaction, though, super calm, almost chillingly so. She just looked at them and said, "We're done."
Wow. Just like that.
Turned around, walked out, didn't say another word.
That takes strength. What did the parents say the next morning? I can only imagine.
Oh, it was astonishing, but also kind of predictable for them. Mom shrieks, "One little mistake."
Unbelievable. Minimizing it instantly.
And Dad, even worse, states flatly, "Men have needs. A good wife learns to overlook these things."
Oh, come on. That's disgusting.
Right. They insisted she had to apologize to Richard.
Apologize to him.
Yep. Marry him or they'd sever ties. Warned her she'd bring shame to this family.
What's just fascinating in a horrible way is the complete lack of concern for her. Her feelings, her dignity, her agency. It means nothing.
Nothing at all.
Their entire focus is just maintaining appearances, keeping those social connections, even if it means destroying their daughter's happiness and integrity.
Absolutely.
It's such a clear example of conditional love, where affection, support, it's all contingent on you playing the role they want you to play. It raises serious questions about that kind of family dynamic.
It really does. And that was the absolute breaking point for the narrator. She just snapped.
I don't blame her.
She looked at them and said, "You're nothing but hypocrites." Stepped back, even let out this soft, kind of bitter chuckle.
Wow.
Said, "All you care about is what other people think. You sit here in your perfect house, judging everyone, gossiping. You're hypocrites."
You finally said it out loud.
She did. And then revealed she'd gotten a full scholarship to State University, planned to leave in August.
Boom. How did they take that?
Father just exploded, shouted, "If you're going to throw away everything we've worked for, then get out of this house. You're no daughter of mine."
Ouch. Final words.
She just grabbed her bag. She'd already packed it, anticipating this, and walked out. Heard her mom crying, Dad throwing things behind her.
Wow. The end of that chapter. So where did she go?
Trembling, she dials Aunt Claire's number. They hadn't spoken in years, not since that incident.
Nerve-wracking call to make.
Totally. But Aunt Claire picks up, and immediately her voice is just soft, caring. "Jessie, darling, what's wrong?" And then, "Stay right there, I'll come get you."
Amazing. No hesitation.
None. Shows up in her red convertible, gives her this huge, tight hug, took her to her home in the next town.
What was Aunt Claire's place like?
The narrator describes it as lively and warm, posters from old theater shows, cozy furniture. It felt like everything my sterile family home wasn't.
A real sanctuary.
Yeah. And Claire just told her, this space is yours now for as long as you need it.
Mm-hmm. Just unconditional acceptance.
Exactly. That evening, they're having hot chocolate. Aunt Claire listens to the whole story quietly. Then she says, you remind me of myself at your age, standing up to them, carving your own path. I'm proud of you, Jessie. Really.
That must have meant the world to her.
Oh, absolutely. And then she gives this profound piece of advice. Jessie must have felt guilty, maybe selfish. Because Aunt Claire says, selfish, darling. Living by someone else's script is not selflessness. It's being a puppet. You need to write your own story.
Wow. That's powerful. It's not just giving her a place to stay, is it?
No, not at all.
Aunt Claire's offering a completely different way to think about life. A counter-narrative to everything she grew up with. She's validating that need for autonomy and giving her the intellectual and emotional support to actually go out and do it, to be authentic. It's real mentorship.
It really is. Yeah. And practical help, too. Aunt Claire helps her set up a laptop, find freelance writing work online.
Nice.
Said something like, everyone needs content these days. Might as well make some money while you wait for school to start.
Very practical. Smart.
Then, when it was time, Aunt Claire drove her to college, helped her carry her stuff in, set up her desk, made her bed, left her with the words, this is your adventure, make it count.
Just incredible support. What a contrast to her parents.
Night and day. Yeah. So the narrator just throws herself into her business management courses, loves it, stays in touch with Aunt Claire almost every day, maintaining that connection. Yeah. Meanwhile, Emma, the sister, living the perfect life, daughter, wife, mother. She eventually had 3 kids, even named one Jason Jr., but the narrator hears nothing from her parents or Emma. Silence.
They just cut her off completely.
Completely. Then, just devastating news, Aunt Claire gets diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Oh, no.
Prognosis is awful. A few months, maybe less.
Heartbreaking. After everything.
The narrator immediately moves in with her, cares for her full time, makes every single moment count, learns her secret recipes, hears stories about her youth. Aunt Claire kept encouraging her to live fearlessly.
Making the most of that precious time.
Then Aunt Claire passed away. Peacefully on a Tuesday morning, holding the narrator's hand.
Oh, man.
The funeral was packed. The whole theater community turned out, actors, directors, students. Church was full.
A testament to her life.
Absolutely. But there were 3 empty seats right in the front row.
Let me guess. Parents and Emma.
Yep, they didn't come.
Wow. Even for her funeral.
Yeah.
That absence just speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It's screaming.
About the rift, about their pride, prioritizing that over family connection, even in grief. It's just cold. It shows how deep that rigidity went.
It really does. So a week after the funeral, the notary calls. Aunt Claire's will.
Okay.
She left everything to the narrator. The house, some land she owned back in their hometown, and around $700,000 in savings.
Wow. That's life-changing. And a huge validation from Aunt Claire.
Huge. Then the narrator finds something else, tucked away in a drawer. A stack of unsent letters from Aunt Claire to her father, John.
Unsent letters? Oh, wow.
Yeah. The most recent one was dated just 2 weeks before she died. It talked about reconciliation, remembering their childhood, how he used to protect her from bullies.
And that's poignant.
And this one line just hits hard. Life is too short for pride, isn't it? I hope one day you can understand that. I love you all, even when we disagreed, even when it hurt. Your sister, Claire.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's just heartbreaking. It shows Aunt Claire's capacity for forgiveness, for love, right to the very end. Even towards the brother who caused her so much pain. And it just highlights his pride, his rigidity, that cost him that final chance for peace. A chance she was clearly still offering.
Yeah. Tragic, really. So fast forward 2 years. The narrator's doing well, living in Aunt Claire's house, now hers. Got promoted to senior manager, corner office, making really good money.
Good for her. Building her own life.
Totally. Then, out of the blue, her mom calls. Her voice sounds different. Softer than I remembered, the narrator says. Asks her to come home.
Okay. Why now?
She gets there, and the childhood home is literally falling apart. Paint peeling, gutters sagging, inside just old, worn furniture, tired carpets.
Ooh, so things have gone downhill.
Big time. Mom looks exhausted. Dad just looks defeated. And Emma's there, curled up on the couch, 3 kids clinging to her. And she has a bruised eye, poorly hidden with makeup.
Oh, no. Not Emma, too.
She admits Jason, the perfect husband, turned violent.
God, that's awful. So the facade completely crumbled.
Completely. And the parents finally admit it. We were wrong. We were wrong about everything. forcing her towards Richard, pushing her about college. Dad even says, "Look where our pride got us. I can barely pay the bills."
A moment of reckoning then.
Seems like it. His business failed. Their so-called friends vanish once the money dried up. They couldn't even afford basic repairs like fixing the roof.
It's almost poetic justice, isn't it? Or maybe just the natural consequence.
Yeah.
That social status, the connections they valued so highly, all built on shaky, superficial ground.
Yeah.
It just dissolved when the money went away. It exposes how hollow it all was.
Absolutely. So the narrator, hearing all this, what does she do? Without hesitating, writes them a check for $10,000 for repairs.
Wow. No strings attached.
No conditions attached, she says. And from then on, she starts visiting often, bringing groceries, clothes for Emma's kids, even appliances when theirs broke.
Trying to rebuild, maybe?
Yeah.
Be the bigger person.
Seems like it. And her parents seem genuinely grateful at first.
Uh-oh. I sense a but coming.
Oh, yeah. Here's where it gets really interesting again. What started as gratitude slowly turned into expectation, then entitlement.
There it is. The pattern repeats.
It started small. Little comments like, "Oh, we were hoping for a different brand," or "We really needed something else."
Testing the waters.
Then the direct asks start. Mom calling with shopping lists. "We need a new washing machine. There's one on sale at Sears. Can you pick it up this weekend?" Dad chiming in. "Your sister's kids need new clothes. And not the cheap stuff, the good stuff."
Well, the demands just escalate.
Bigger items, more frequent, more demanding. A new TV, outdoor furniture, even talk of a kitchen remodel.
They're slipping right back into expecting her to provide for their lifestyle.
Exactly. Then comes the call about their 35th anniversary. They're planning this huge party at Lum Zone, the most expensive restaurant in town.
Of course. Got to keep up appearances, even now.
Inviting all their old friends, who are suddenly reappearing now that the narrator seems to be helping out.
Interesting how that works.
Isn't it? A week before the party, Mom calls. No beating around the bush. "Jessica, for our anniversary, we need a new car. It's $6,000.
A car, just like that.
Yep. We can't keep driving that old Toyota. What will people think? You're doing well now. Surely you can afford it."
The entitlement is just breathtaking.
The narrator mentions she'd already planned a gift. Mom's voice just turns cold. "We sacrificed everything for you. The least you can do is get us a decent car."
Wow. The manipulation, the guilt trip, it's all back. That apology seems pretty hollow now.
Doesn't it?
This escalation, it's not just greed, is it? It feels like it highlights that deep, ingrained pattern, transactional relationships, maybe even a form of, coercive control.
Yeah.
Their apology was maybe just strategic. They hadn't actually changed their core belief that she exists to serve their needs and, importantly, maintain their image. That car demand reveals everything. They still see her as just an extension of their own social standing.
Yeah, you put that really well. So the night of the party, Lum Zone is exactly their kind of place. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, the works.
Setting the stage.
The narrator walks in. She has documents in a silver envelope. Her heart's pounding because she's planning this huge surprise.
Oh, what's the surprise?
Remember that land Aunt Claire left her? She'd spent the last year secretly building them a house on it. A beautiful 5-bedroom house, big enough for everyone, parents, Emma, the kids.
Wow. That's incredibly generous after everything.
Right. She was going to give it to them tonight, but then the public humiliation starts.
Oh, no. What happens?
Mom spots her first. Face just hardens. Whispers to Dad, who gives her the same cold, dismissive look. Then Mom's voice just cuts through the room, loud enough for everyone nearby. Well, look who decided to show up."
Ouch. Right in front of everyone.
The narrator tries, "Mom," but her mom snaps. "Don't mom me. How dare you show up after refusing to help your own parents, after we sacrificed everything for you?"
Sacrificed.
Yeah.
Wow. The narrative they cling to.
Dad joins in, all self-pity. "We only asked for one thing, to make your mother happy on our anniversary. But you're too selfish, aren't you? Too busy with your money."
They're playing the victims. Perfectly.
One of their friends even pipes up, "Is this how you raised her? To treat her parents like this?" And Mom declares, full martyr mode, "She's no daughter of mine. A real daughter would have bought us the car we needed. Instead, she shows up empty-handed to ruin our celebration."
Empty-handed. If only they knew what was in that envelope. This is just... It's a stark reflection of their values, isn't it?
Completely.
Public image, material things. They trump everything. Gratitude, relationship, even basic decency. Their performance just continues trying to control the narrative in front of these friends. It shows how tied their identity is to that external validation.
Absolutely. So the narrator finds her voice. Her hands are shaking, but she holds up that silver envelope. "You want to know why I didn't buy you that car?"
Here it comes.
Mom just snaps back. We don't want your excuses. Just leave. You're embarrassing us.
Still trying to shut her down.
The narrator looks around, sees their smug friends, sees Emma, who can't even meet her eye. And in that moment, she says she saw Aunt Claire standing in that same room years ago, facing the same judgment.
That connection must have given her strength.
It seems like it. Her voice gets stronger. I spent the last year building you a house.
Oh, the reveal.
A beautiful 5-bedroom home on Aunt Claire's land. Big enough for all of you. Dad, Emma, the kids.
Imagine the silence. Their faces.
Drained of color, she says. I was going to surprise you today, she continues, but now I see Aunt Claire was right about you both. You haven't changed. You're still the same selfish, shallow hypocrites.
Wow, just laid it all bare.
Then she holds up the envelope and tears it right in half. The sound of the paper ripping echoes in the room.
Symbolic.
And final.
Your final words? The house is mine now, and so is my life. I'm done buying your love.
Powerful, absolutely powerful.
She turns, walks out, ignores her dad calling after her. Her phone immediately starts blowing up texts from Mom, Dad, Emma, even the friends. Yeah. All scrambling now, realizing what they just lost. Too little, too late.
She blocked every single one of them. Never saw her parents again. Heard later, through the grapevine, they lost their house eventually. Emma struggled alone with the kids, and those friends disappeared again once the money, or the potential for money, ran out.
A very definitive end. And a costly one for them.
So reflecting on all this, what does it all mean? This deep dive, it's just laid bare these incredibly complex, often really painful family dynamics, the weight of expectation, the cost of keeping up appearances, and just the immense courage it takes to finally break free.
Yeah, and the ultimate freedom that comes from choosing authenticity even when it's hard.
Right.
And it does raise important questions for all of us, doesn't it? In our own lives, how do we tell the difference between real support, genuine connection, and those relationships that are purely transactional?
Yeah.
Even within our own families sometimes.
That's a tough one.
And what does it really take to write your own story? To claim your agency, even if it means challenging norms? Or, like in this case, letting go of people who just refuse to change or see you for who you are?
It's a lot to think about. So for you, our listener, maybe ponder this. What unseen scripts, inherited perhaps from family or society, might you be following?
Good question.
And what might it cost you, or maybe what freedom might you gain if you decided to finally rewrite them?
A powerful thought to end on.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it sparks some new insights for you.